so we'll just like pass it, you know, if I'm talking.
Okay.
Or if you wanna like, we can trade duties and shit. You know? What I'm saying. It just started recording.
Hello.
Alright. Let me get my notes. Yeah, I don't know how to start these things, because usually...
Start video with most interesting part of video. Duh.
No, this is the editing part. Alright, stop reading this.
Try not to.
Katie, people please me. Alright. Alright, we got it the first time, okay.
Oh, here we go. Our first intruder.
Alright, so... I don't know how to introduce... Okay, yeah, man. It's been a minute. Literally a minute and nothing. We haven't talked about shit yet. Okay, cool. So, yeah. Thanks, Katie, for... Wait, kid, come... Alright. Alright, thanks, Katie, for, I don't know what it is. It's like Ryan and I have like a podcast. And
right.
Then we just like, we talk about... It sounds so weird saying it out loud. We talk about like
just life stuff,
our
right?
life stuff,
yeah.
right? And like, you know, like not issues, but like things we're like thinking about and shit like that. So like last week we talked about. Let me see.
Do I smell? Are you going away from me?
Last week we talked about like egos, right? Our ego and kind of like how it can get in the way of doing stuff, you know, like making decisions and shit like that. So this week I let you kind of pick the topic that you wanted to pick, right?
Yes.
And do you kind of want to talk a little bit about what we're like the topic and why you chose it?
Sure. So the topic we chose is people pleasing, and
wait. First of all, like, do you want to like introduce yourself or just? Like,
yeah.
Okay.
So my name is Katie. My name is Katie. I've known George since freshman year of college. And I'm in Taiwan studying Chinese.
Oh, yeah, we're in Taiwan.
Yeah, surprise! And George needed someone to sub in while he's here. And that's me.
Yeah.
This is my first time doing this, so
yeah,
I'm a little not used to it.
I'm super not used to this too, but thanks for like agreeing to.
Of course.
This is still weird. Like I'm so close to you.
Okay.
Alright, just back off a little bit. Back off.
My bad.
Okay. So people pleasing and can you kind of tell me like how like what you define really as people pleasing and why it's relevant in your life right now?
People pleasing. I guess just very simply, it's just to get people to like you, to like being around you, and like make them feel good. In my life, I guess in general, everyone wants people to like them and wants people to be happy. So it's just very relevant in my life because there's so many different types of people that it's really hard to know what most people like and what they'd want to hear. And then also ends up sometimes being tension of what you want to say versus what they want to hear. And so there's always that like tension of, should I say this or that?
Yeah. So it's kind of like, it sounds like it's like this almost like a pressure that people don't really talk about, but it does affect like literally all your decisions, right?
Exactly, yeah.
So do you feel like where do you feel like this, like that kind of like stem from, you know, like because there has to be like that habit, it's like a habit of people pleasing, right?
Yeah.
Like do you know where it kind of came from and like why it's so like part of you?
I think growing up, my dad played a big influence on it. He always tried to tell me how to be a better communicator and how to listen to people. And so growing up, he'd always be like, oh, it's like the book, The 5 Ways to, or what is it? How many ways to influence people and to get people to like you. That
is it
book.
How to Win Friends and Influence
Yes,
People?
How to Win Friends and Influence People. Yeah, he had me read that. I mean, just like as a little kid. And so I've always made sure.
Wait, how old?
Like when I was in middle school.
Damn.
Yeah.
That's really young.
And so I don't remember all of it, but I just remember from that age, I've always was trying to be conscientious of it.
That's really interesting.
Yeah. So like I always wanted to make sure, I don't talk too much about myself. A lot of times people like to talk about themselves because, so ask them questions, make sure you're showing them they're listening versus always like diverging to your own story. Right. And so I guess from that, I would say I would describe that to me always wanting to make sure people felt happy. So
Yeah.
I'd always like, oh, let me
Was
be
it
conscientious about.
was it like more so like literally the book, or do you think it was more so like your parents telling you to behave a certain way, which
Yeah.
will usually lead to a certain type of like having people like you more?
Yeah, it wasn't just the book, I think, because I don't even really remember the details of the book, but it was just that constant, like, oh, there are different ways to get people to feel better, to like
Right.
you. And, like, I think because there's also this pressure in life, I feel
Yeah.
like most people, if they have better connections and better relationships, they'll get
Yeah.
further in life. And so
Sure.
I think growing up, my dad really, really, like, pushed that on me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting. Do you feel like it's like alright, so the reason why I feel like this is, but you can like ask me questions. It's not like like I'm interrogating you.
Okay,
So
yeah.
it's like the reason why I really like this topic of yours, because like it literally like your behavior literally is altered, and like it literally changes everything that you do.
Yeah.
Like, for example, like if you want, like as you're saying, like if you're trying to like get something from someone, you act a certain way and you kind of like adapt and like change yourself for someone else. And a lot of that, the reason why I wanted to talk to, like, I'm glad you brought up kind of like parenting, is because like from a young age you're told to be like a nice person, right? Like a nice little girl, do this and mom and dad won't be mad at you, right? And you kind of like alter your like personality and your actions so that you won't get in trouble.
Yeah.
It's kind of scary because like as you move on to like, as you kind of grow older, you kind of realize that was just so you wouldn't do some dumb shit, right? You know,
Yeah.
like so you wouldn't like they had their own reasoning, right? They
Yeah.
would tell, like for example, like you now know that Santa Claus doesn't exist or there's no monsters under the thing.
Disclaimer.
Yeah, like shit like that, right?
Yeah.
But like that was used kind of like, it kind of like, I don't want to say traumatized you, but it kind of like changed you in a way where like you have like some false assumptions about some things, maybe based on those teachings, and which can lead to you becoming like a nice person, But we now know that like nice people, like a lot of them are they can be very,
Come in different shapes and forms.
not really, like they can like you can be very, there's a lot of, you're not really being who you are. You're just
Not
being
being authentic.
Yeah, you're being like who you think someone else wants you to be.
Yeah.
And you're acting in a way where you might get a better response, and as a result, like another example would just be like me asking you to go hang out tomorrow, right? Like I'd be like, hey, do you want to hang out? You're like, yeah, immediately. But then later you realize, oh, I actually didn't want to hang out with George tomorrow. And then later on you have to tell me that, and I'm kind of butthurt. So you kind of put on like a temporary Band-Aid for like a long-term problem, Does that, I kind of rambled, but
No, yeah, I understand what you're saying.
like it's like a bigger,
it's a slippery slope.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it spirals into a larger issue.
I'd like to think the way that I see it is that I try to be more like I guess it is like a chameleon, so that I can kind of, depending on who I'm talking to, I can not change myself totally.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
I'm still who I am, but I focus and emphasize different parts of me. So like for some people I know, they just like to have fun. They don't really they would never listen to this type of talk because they don't like internalizing things. They don't like really talking about their feelings. And so with them, it's always like goofing off, like
Yeah.
trolling, making fun of each other. And that I am that type of person in
Yeah.
certain settings. And so
Okay.
I'll focus on that. But with other people, I love talking about like what inspires them, what this,
Yeah.
and I think it's just really like, oh, I can see this is that type of person.
Yeah.
So I'm going to make sure I show more of myself in
I
that
get
regard.
I like that, because that's more, it's not like it's like you're still being authentic, but to that aspect
Yeah.
of that. So it's like a win-win situation where you're both being authentic and you're kind of catering to what the other person kind of needs. So it's not like you're
Exactly.
just
Yeah.
being fake.
So that's what I try to do it like that. But then of course it's like that still always brings up the question of, but which one do I who am I really? Like of course
Yeah.
like I'm the combination of them,
Sure.
but then I guess it really depends on like who I hang out with more.
Yeah. Do you feel like people pleasing kind of, does it ever get in the way of your schedule or your goals?
Yes. I think I don't really have the issue of like with telling people no.
That's really good. 'Cause
Yeah.
it's like, if I have an issue with that. That's why it's like, when people ask me to hang out, like, it's just, I usually just like gravitate yes, but I
Yeah.
like how that you can say no without feeling like you're offending someone.
Yeah, with hangouts, I can usually be pretty honest and say no, but then it's like I have the opposite problem. I'll say no, and then I feel a little bit guilty.
Yeah.
So it's like, dang it, like, I hope they don't take this the wrong way. I hope they don't think I'm, like, not a fun person, or I hope they don't think, like, I don't want to hang out with them because of, like, who they are. It's more of just I want to focus on my own thing.
Yeah.
So it's like, I'll say no, then I'm like, oh, man, like, maybe I should say yes, and that's kind of what I grapple with.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So do you usually, there's almost like it's not FOMO, but it's like a...
Oh, I have such bad FOMO. I really do. Even if I don't want to do something, I'm like, dang it, like, maybe I should have just gone,
Yeah.
Even though I know it's not something, like, I would have really enjoyed if I was there. That's something, yeah. I don't know.
Because it ties into that, too,
Yeah,
right?
it
Like, it
does.
just, like... Because, yeah, like, you don't... You have regrets, I guess.
Yeah, regrets.
Yeah. So, like... It, like, this... Like, you kind of altering your schedule and having FOMO, it kind of, like... Do you feel like it can take away... You know how they say, like, you want to always keep your glass full before you can help other people?
Yeah.
Like, do you feel like... When's, like, where do you draw the line of where you're not feeling completely, like you're fully, like, rested and healthy and you've gotten your shit done, before are kind of going to some event and someone asking you to hang out at a party or like some after party or some rager,
Yeah, I think that I'm still trying to figure that out. I think recently, like this past year, I've leaned more toward not taking care of myself as much, and that, like, I put some of my goals aside. And so just recently, while I've been in Taiwan, I've realized, oh man, like, I haven't really focused on some of those. And when I get back in the States, I do want to prioritize that. And so I don't really know how or, like, to what extent, but I would say, I guess, just, try to feel less guilty about saying no to more things. But then when I do feel like I'm at a good place with, like, all the time and effort I'm putting into my goals, then I will make a very conscious effort to just, like, show people. Like, I'm good at, like, being proactive on hangouts, so like, I will hit people up and show them, hey, like, I'm here for you. Like, if you do ever need anything, let me know. But, like, if it's, like, a really, like, long, like, going out drinking hangout, that might not be my vibe. But if you want to go to a cafe and study with me, if we can get something that aligns with both of our goals and what we like, then that'd be perfect.
Yeah, I think like I think that's something I'm realizing also is, like, you don't want to create, like, as you know from, like, the How to Win Friends, I think it talks about, like, win-win situations, right? So you don't want to, like, in a people-pleasing situation, you be having lose-win situations in a way where you feel like you're sacrificing something in order to, and just, like, for their greater good. That's why you're kind of bitter inside, or you're just like,
it doesn't end up being really
you're just like that's why you're so, that's why, like, going back to, like, the nice person, it's like they're just like, oh my god, and they become like, you become bitter. Like, I can say this because I feel like I was that person a little bit a while ago, and I've only started to, like, realize the power of saying, like, no to people and like being okay with, like, you're not going to offend someone else. Like, you're not, like, so there's almost like a hint of, like, narcissism to think that you're so important that, like, me saying no is going to ruin your entire schedule, Yeah.
It's so complicated. It is, though. It's like, I guess it's just narcissistic in that it's just the whole, like, caring a lot about what people think about you, too. Like, if you're so comfortable with who you are and, like, you're a good person, and if this is, like, a really good friend, then they obviously are gonna, like, understand.
Right?
Yeah. And if they don't, then hopefully they'll talk to you about it, and then you could clarify and, like, and it'll still be a good, healthy relationship. But there is that just, like, hesitation of, man, like the FOMO of, like, oh, what if they don't understand, and there is just, like, a little bit of fear, and there's so many mosquitoes.
Us China, seriously, I'm gonna fuck, like,
in Taiwan.
What we're talking about.
I'm just so itchy.
I heard mosquitoes. Oh shit. Alright, so I was gonna say something really weird. All right. What were we talking about? FOMO and
The narcissistic
narcissism.
side
Think
of
you're so
it.
important. Yeah, I was actually. All right, so I was talking to Ryan the last time about how. Basically, I was talking to him at the end of our conversation about ego. He was bringing up some story of how. Oh, I just passed, guys.
Yum.
I got really drunk with him this one time, but I don't remember saying this to him. But I was like telling him like, call me out when I do stupid shit, and call me out when like I'm not in line with my values or like what
He'll call you out.
I want him to. And I was like, because when I was really drunk, I was actually very aggressively telling him. I was like, dude, just call, like, because I would call him out, and he'd be like, oh, blah. But the reason is because I actually was like reflective of what I wanted from him, reflective of what I wanted from him to me,
Okay.
of him calling me out and telling me when I'm doing like stupid stuff.
Does he want that from you?
I don't think so. I don't think so.
So you just dish it out.
Yeah, I just dish it out, which is like kind of. You know how like when you're thinking of something, like that's what matters, and you kind of like impose it on other people.
Yeah, because that's what you want.
Yeah. So it's actually really bad. So I should probably stop doing that. But
I'm calling you out.
Yeah, exactly. But it kind of ties back to like I told him at the end of the day, like if we're friends, like I trust you that you have my best interest in your mind. So when you're doing stuff, like when you're telling me stuff, it's like for my own good, right? I'm having trouble right now to connecting the dots. So basically, we're talking about. Oh shit! I forgot.
Well, people pleasing. You said I don't know. You just.
Oh yeah. Okay. So trust. It was about trust.
Okay.
And like making sure that I trust you. So when, like I feel like I can trust you. So when I tell you I can't do something, like I don't need to be offended. Like I don't need to be afraid that you're offended, because you know that like, you know what my goals are. You know that I'm working on myself. Like I'm not maliciously trying to hurt you. You know, like I'm probably just making some stupid decisions, like haven't scheduled out my stuff properly. And I would hope for my friend to like tell me like, hey, and my friends usually do tell me like, dude, like you're not organized enough. You're not doing these things. You know?
That's really
If a mosquito lands on you, I can slap you, right?
Yeah, I give you permission. I hate mosquito bites. I have so many.
So I just thought about like the thought of.
You're mean. You're just so excited to do it.
So it's like, oh shit, what's
You're gonna fake it. You're like, oh, gotcha. I feel like that's really healthy and like you're really good at ew! I literally killed one and there's blood all over.
You little bitch.
That's really awesome that you could do that. I feel like
It's not like, wait, hold up. It's not like something I've completely integrated. It's like something that
you want to be integrated.
that's like kind of starting to integrate and have been integrating.
Yeah. I think I would like that, but I'm also kind of worried that I can be a little bit sensitive.
Yeah.
Because I feel like I guess part of the people pleasing is that I'm also like a perfectionist in a way, and so when I am working toward a goal, I feel like I've thought of all aspects of it. Like I already feel like I've tried to think of the best way to approach this, and like if someone else recommends something to me, I'm always just like, of course, like I thought of that already, like that. Like I feel like a little insulted, like oh my gosh, and I can be a little less patient than I should be, or I take it personally.
Yeah.
It's like, wait, I am working really hard. Like, what do you mean? Like, what does that mean? You know? And so I think it's awesome though that there is that trust, and that is something I should probably like build more toward, and to like, be like, you know what, they're looking into like for my best interest. It's not spiteful or malicious like you said, and it's not like they think any less of me by like saying these things.
It's hard though, because like going back to like our topic of like people pleasing, like you care so much about what other people think, and that's why you kind of alter your actions based on, and you a lot of times you have a lot of assumptions too based on like what they could be thinking. But like if you just like, something I realized is like if you just like ask them and you just like
sorry, they're so itchy.
All right, we'll wrap it up quickly. But if you just like ask people like what they're thinking, and ask them how they feel about certain things, like it's usually not as bad as you anticipate.
Maybe
you know?
like internalize,
Like just saying like no to something. Like some people are just like, okay, like it's not like a big deal.
Yeah.
Unless you're petty like me.
Stop being a little bitch.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I realized that too, especially with my classmates in Taiwan. They kind of call me like joking, like you're a nerd, like
Yeah.
all you do is study and
Right.
stuff. But they know that I've like gone out before, so
Yeah.
they know that I can be fun.
Yeah.
And like when I do say no, like at this point, like at first I was kind of like, oh my gosh, they probably just think I'm a loser. You know?
Yeah.
But I think now they like know I can be fun, but I'm just consciously making those decisions to do my own
Yeah.
thing. And like when I
Yeah.
do go out though, they like are really excited for me
Yeah,
to
yeah.
go. Yeah.
That's good. I think you're just like focusing on yourself. Which
Yeah, it's a different place
solid.
in our lives.
Cool. Cool.
Yeah. All right, for sure. And that's a wrap.
All right. It's
How do you
a wrap.
end these things?
I don't know. We usually end like on a conclusion, like what we want to do, like moving forward. Unless we're just talking about shit, and not like the whole point is just like to like discuss it,
Yeah.
and then like, all right, in the next couple of weeks, I'm gonna work on so and so. But sometimes it's just like just talking about it, kind of.
Yeah, I don't really know what conclusion. I mean, I guess just to be more open-minded about like the constructive criticism.
Mm-hmm. And how's that gonna affect your like people pleasing, like?
I think it would actually be more beneficial because people wouldn't see me as stubborn.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like sometimes being that defensive to stuff is like the opposite effect of people pleasing, you know? Like you want to have this perfect image of you and you want people to think of you're perfect, this perfect image. But like by owning up to the flaws and accepting it, I think makes people like you more in a way.
Yeah, or like
Because
just
it's,
respect
like-
you too.
Exactly, yeah, because it's like, yeah, everyone's working on like a common goal of,
Yeah.
of improving and like living their life. Living their best life, my bad. What else is there? I don't know, what about you? Do you have any kind of action items?
For people pleasing, it's just like, I guess it's just really. I can go on a whole tangent on like why I think being selfish is okay, but it kind of relates to that being a little bit more selfish with my time, my energy, and because if you just like, you're just like a whore with your time, like. It's not like you don't help you. You're just like spreading yourself out too thin, and
Yeah.
you don't really. Like you helping yourself out is gonna help people in the long run.
Yeah.
You know, like you getting your shit together. Like you hang out with everyone all the time. Like you're not getting your shit done. So at the end of the day, you're just like a hangout buddy.
Mm-hmm.
And that doesn't really. At the end of the day, like people want to hang out with people who have their shit together. You know, they don't want to hang out with someone who doesn't have their shit together. Honestly.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's kind of just like being more selfish with my time, but in a way where I'm like still mindful of like I'm not gonna forget who my friends are, and I'm not gonna. I need to like make sure that I don't forget that like people are my relationships are super important. You know?
Definitely, yeah, finding that balance.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And I think what you said too about sometimes even just maybe starting that dialogue of if I'm ever concerned that if I'm ever concerned of someone being upset by my like not attending certain events, hey, you know, like I'm really sorry I've been MIA, like I've just been really focused on this, but like as soon as this kind of like clears up a little bit, like I will like hit you up like immediately.
Yeah, for sure. Like that's like, and like someone who doesn't understand that is just like inconsiderate.
Exactly. Yeah.
Right?
And if they do have something serious and important, then of course I'll drop stuff. But yeah.
Like nothing is that important. Like unless it's like health or someone's literally having a crisis. Like that's what I kind of realized. Like someone's like you can miss someone's birthday, in my opinion.
Okay.
If you like.
I'm such a big birthday person, so I disagree. I love attention.
Hey, I can like when I'm saying that I mean
you
like.
You can't miss my birthday, George. I'm just saying.
I can miss your. Alright. Oh shit, we're going to fight about this. Oh my god, dude, this dog's about to like.
I wish the screen saw it because now it just looks like we're looking at nothing.
I know. Alright, we gotta wrap this up. How many minutes is this? Shit's already 24 minutes. Okay, people don't even watch like. People watch like 5 minutes.
Really?
Yeah. But okay. Missing birthdays, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, my theory, not my theory, is like my reasoning is, I can miss your birthday if, I can miss your birthday if like I hang out.
If what?
if I hang out with you, like, if we regularly hang out and I hang out with you and I make an effort to, like, I treat you like a special, like, I treat you as a person in my life that, like, I see you a lot already, and
Yeah.
when we hang out, like, I am actually giving you attention, and I make an effort and I see you regularly. If I tell you that I have a job on that day of and I can't make it, and I said that we're gonna grab dinner on me, or it doesn't matter.
Oh.
I'll grab dinner next week, or I
Yeah.
grab it before.
I
And I
totally
can't make
get
it to your
that.
day of, like, I think that's totally fine, because, like, sure, it's like it's your birthday, but, like, we're friends for like life, you know. It's not
Yeah.
like a one-time deal. Like, if I'm not there, like, you know, like,
Yeah. I totally get that. I meant it more as like
if I could help it,
like if it's just there's no reason behind it,
Oh,
and
yeah,
it's
of
just
course.
like
then you're not like.
why aren't you trying to go? Yeah. But if there's like a legitimate reason, and like especially if you're like, yeah, but let's do something before or after, and you're making that extra effort,
yeah.
it's like basically almost even better, because it's like, oh, let's have one-on-one time, because
Yeah,
like
yeah.
I value you
Yeah.
as a friend.
Yeah.
All right. I guess we're on the same page.
I don't know why we talked. How do we talk about that?
Missing birthdays.
Yeah,
and
nothing's that important. All right,
Yeah,
fine,
yeah.
good. Cool.
All right.
Well, that's kind of it. That wraps
So
up.
That's the second wrap.
All right, dude. This was episode 11, I think.
Okay.
Cool. All right, we'll see you.
Bye, guys.
Oh, bye.
Catch us next time.
All right. Thank you.
Ooh, Joel mean.